I'm glad I left that in.
Nicely done.
I didn't know if I should do it or not, but I'm glad I did. I think I've only ever done that once.
Sat on yourself?
Yeah. I didn't.
One time is all it takes.
I didn't. I have to be fair, Paul. I have to tell the truth here. I didn't know what all the hype was about, but now I understand.
You thought that maybe people were like, oh, well, I mean, it's not that bad.
You certainly talk about it a lot, right? So you're like, oh, okay. There must be something to this. Well, if it ever happens, I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, I see what they mean. On the little boy. That tea is like nicely astringent in a tiny little way. I'm over here now because Paul will be over here in a brief amount of time. Oh, Valley of Plenty.
Hey, all you awesome people.
Toss a coin at your witcher. He'll be waiting for you.
How's it going, everybody? I have actually watched, not the entirety, but a good chunk of the Witcher show.
Yeah.
And I was saying to Beej, I don't actually really get that song. It's kind of an odd song. Like, The Witcher's whole thing is that he's basically like a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
He like comes in and is like, hey, we've got this big monster. Here's 4,000 gold pieces or whatever. Go kill it, right? Yeah. He's not like you don't just like toss him a coin. That's his job, is killing monsters for money.
Yeah, it's kind of like I can understand if it's like if he walked into a room, like into a bar, and you're like, oh, he saved us from that monster. I guess maybe I'll buy him an ale or something. But at the same time, I'm also like, he probably has lots of money from killing that monster. You don't need to buy him an ale.
Yeah, don't toss a coin to the Witcher. Maybe hire him for a job.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't need your charity.
No, I mean he's gonna probably have to kill like 10 rats for the rat asses. So get him to like kill rats in your tavern or something. Go down to your basement.
That's true. Yeah. Don't toss a coin to the Witcher. Give him a fetch quest.
Yeah.
Yeah, Witchers don't work for exposure.
No, exactly. The WWE 2K20 thing was delicious irony. Like just the fact that it's like, oh, it's 2020, the game that they named the game the year that the game is named after. Boy, that came out real smooth, Beach. Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, it's I mean, there's always, of course, there's the sort of being grumbly about games being named or everything being like 2020.
Yeah, model year ahead of time.
Way in 2019.
Yeah.
That's not like saying that's silly. Is not the hottest of takes. I mean, people have been doing that with cars for however many years. And, obviously with video games and everything else has been like that. But it's just the fact that wasn't even tested in 2020. Like out in who knows what the actual glitch even would have been that would mess that up.
I would love to hear the breakdown of that, right? Because it'd be like, so no other piece of software has this kind of problem. What did you do? What was the issue? Because it is clearly date-based, right? That's so weird.
I bet it's just it was a time zone thing. It's always a time zone thing.
Yeah. So that was funny and was a great way for me to flex what little knowledge I had about the WWE and just kind of...
Oh, was it a stupid ISO calendar thing?
Oh, interesting.
I just found out about that the other day. Stupid ISO calendar.
That's why you use epochs.
Bull crap. Yeah.
That's why it all should have been done on January 1st, 1970. Number of seconds elapsed.
Yeah. What happened before 1970? We don't care. Nothing. Nothing important happened before January 1st, 1970.
Didn't have any computers then, maybe.
There's no reason to ever want to go to that date.
Oh, people are asking. I'm curious about this. Did you have a Y2K problem ever with any computer you owned?
With any computer?
Yeah.
No. I was never using, because like the main things that had to be upgraded for Y2K stuff was like embedded systems that use old old Unix stuff, because like an actual desktop computers had the updates incorporated into them just in the regular course of system updates years before it was a problem. The issue was like thermostats and like just random
stuff that was like running COBOL,
random embedded systems. That was the big thing. But so it was never nothing that I was ever working on. The thing that I did, the change in the world that I got the most work out of, that wasn't something that I did, was when Canada, or when BC switched over to change their tax, like switched over to HST instead of GST. I got so much work changing people's. Well, for one thing, I had a bunch of work. Not only that, but also when they moved the daylight savings in North America 1 week earlier or 2 weeks earlier or whatever. I got a ton of work from that, and I got a ton of work from when we switched to the different tax thing, because a bunch of people had to redo all their store systems to work with that.
Because why would that ever change, right? You hard code that shit in, so.
Well, it wasn't just hard coding in, but it was just the fact that before we had two, like we had
GST and
you had
PST.
Like it was set up so that because those numbers changed every once in a while, so it's not that hard they made that change. But then it was like, now instead of two, we have one, and blah blah blah. Oh
hey, nice. That was fast.
Little we have repaired Switch controllers now. That doesn't wander.
We have one. I have to get. I basically only sent one away just in case we need to use the other one over Christmas break. So I have to send the other one away. But it doesn't cost us anything to mail them to Richmond, so that's pretty good.
Anyway,
speaking of Richmond, The Witcher.
Was it filmed there?
No, they kind of rhyme. So.
Oh, I see. The Witchmond.
Yeah, The Witchmond.
The Witcher, which I've seen the first 3 episodes or so, and I've quite enjoyed it. It's I guess there's a slight complications in the narrative, but it's not as I've said, I watched Westworld.
Yeah.
Which has at least 2 different concurrent timelines involving the same people, where and also various people who turn out to be robots who you don't expect, and just different things like that.
It's funny too, because like the conversation always kind of like, because I hear people say, "Oh, there's 2 different timelines," and it's like, well, there's one timeline. It's different time periods within the timeline. Right. Is how I understand it. It's like it's not supposed to be like there are branching timelines telling 2 different stories of like where something diverged. It's like it's supposed to be about like this happened 50 years before this happening kind of deal.
I mean, I haven't got to the point in the story where we actually find out.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible. Like, I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I haven't played the video games and I haven't read the books. So I don't know whether The Witcher actually has like divergent timelines or whatever. Right. What is clear from watching, because I haven't experienced it in any other medium, what's clear from watching this show is that there's a ton of like lore and background information, right? And they're trying to be, you have to be careful about these things, obviously. You can't have, a half-hour lore dump in the middle of your TV show to like explain how magic works in this world.
Yeah.
But there is aspects where it's, especially things like magic, where it's not supposed, like where the rules are entirely arbitrary in the particular world you're in. Like, it's good if it's self, that if it makes sense with internally consistent.
Yeah.
But obviously magic doesn't exist in the real world, so they've got there's nothing that you can like base it on.
Yeah.
And so you have this situation where it's like, yes, you have to do, whenever you do magic,
you need these component elements,
or it's like some, you have to sacrifice something. So to lift this rock, you have to like destroy this flower.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. Wait, what happened to the part where they teleported? Did they not have to destroy something for that? Oh no, that's a special thing. They didn't have to do it for that. It's
cool.
Like, oh, okay, sure.
All right.
It's like, I don't know, when somebody does something magical in the show, or when something magical happens, I don't know if that's impressive or not. Because it's like,
right.
is this you have to sort of look at the reactions of other characters in the scene and be like, are they impressed by this? Should I be impressed by this?
Yeah, are they surprised that such a thing exists? Or is it like, this again? Like,
anyway.
I think that the crux of the story being like more people are playing the most recent game on Steam
than have ever played it before,
which is very surprising to me because it's like it sounds like The Witcher 3 has always just kind of been like it came out, people liked it, but it really didn't have like it didn't like drop like a hammer, right? Like people weren't just like losing their minds like over Overwatch or like that kind of thing. But it kind of felt like it was always a slow burn thing that people were always playing the game.
I feel like Witcher has gotten it is one of those games that has a bigger long tail, I guess, than a lot of other games. Like I see it, in the top selling and top playing lists.
Yeah.
For a long time. The game's like what, 2.5 years old now?
Yeah, I think so,
the third one.
Yeah. I mean, it's out on Switch, so they have to have done some work on it. Obviously,
it's consistently, and of course everyone says it's, it's on the tops of everyone's lists. I haven't gotten into the series too much, but I hear it's very good, and I've been very tempted.
Yeah. Eve Online was the next thing.
Oh, right. That's the story I was just going to say other stories we did talk about.
Oh, yeah. Well, the Modern Warfare thing where people are getting killed by a chair.
That's just a weird glitch in the game. The funny thing is that's the only level in which you can actually spin the chairs. By hitting
really?
them.
Okay.
There's other levels that have chairs but you hit them and they don't spin. So I don't know why it's a different thing. But I guess there's some sort of weird physics interaction where when the chair is spinning, if you touch it, it kills you. Because sure, why not?
I thought it was going to be one of these things where if you punch the chair off enough that it spins faster and faster and faster and like basically conserves its own energy, and then gets to a point where it's just like this whirling like cyclotron kind of thing, and then if you do touch it, it's like it just tears you to pieces.
Right.
But that is not the case. The Uncharted movie lost its 6th director.
Yeah, 7th time's the charm. So they haven't actually said who's replacing the 6th director yet.
No,
but their new director. The idea of one actor going from playing the young guy to playing the older mentor in the course of because it's taken so long in pre-production is actually is a nice, that's like
a good touch,
real nice.
So I was commenting to Graham last night, then reading there was a story on Gizmodo where they were talking about, this thing has happened, and then it went on for a while, and I'm like, why is it going on? And I kept reading, and it was basically just an editorial piece at that point by the person writing this essentially saying, and I'm going to paraphrase here, so maybe I'm not being very kind, the only reason this isn't getting made is because people are afraid of money. And I was like, I don't think that's the right way to address that, because
I mean, to be honest, like it seems like a slam dunk.
As an exciting action movie,
like the Uncharted games, are basically Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And the games are already massively cinematic.
Yeah.
To the point where it's often considered to be a criticism of the games that they're so cinematic.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it would be an easy move.
Yeah.
Especially since, there's new Indiana Jones movie, or there was a new Indiana Jones movie. There's multiple Tomb Raider movies have come out. It seems like it should be a no-brainer. Like it should not be this hard to get it made.
Yeah.
Considering the other kinds of movies that have gotten made, right?
But just some of the ideas that was in this article where it's like, maybe it could be that, maybe there were Sony-approved scripts that the director looked at and was like, no, I'm not going to make this trash. It doesn't reflect the game's property. I'm like, I will guarantee you that almost every one of those directors has never played that game before in their life. They've seen the material. They've seen some stuff from it, I'm sure, and been like, oh, hey, this looks like a hell of a thing, and it looks like it'd be a very straightforward action adventure movie to make. Sure, I bet you that's all. I bet you they've never played the actual goddamn games. None of them.
But it's like, would people be happy if the game, if a movie came out that was essentially people acting in live action, acting out all the cutscenes from the game?
That's
I don't
not
know
what you want. I don't think.
know if that would be actually do they want to tell a new story? Or I don't know. Anyway. Maybe they should just stick with maybe video game is the appropriate medium for it. But yes.
Hi.
What up?
Do you redo a whole bunch of stories?
Yes.
All of them from the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, he did the first 2 when his head was a little bit cut off.
Good.
Yeah,
I noticed that. I just didn't want to have to watch through all of them to make
and
sure.
then he did the first 2, and then he went back and did the first 2 again.
Yeah. All right. There's a big. I made a clap at one point, so if you look for a spike.
That's not helpful. Your voice spikes a lot.
Oh well, F me then, I guess. All right. I guess I should have just shut up and she could look for a piece of silence.
Yeah,
like that would ever happen.
That would be less common.
So Pogo.
Oh yeah, the thing about Pokemon Go.
That was such a great story.
What's interesting about it is that like there's been a ton of stories, since Pokemon Go came out about Pokestops in bad locations.
Yes.
Either too many Pokestops in one spot or like in graveyards.
Yeah.
Or different various things. I haven't heard this particular. Like you would think that built into the system would be certain areas that are like off limits.
Yeah. Well, and like
areas that are well, for one thing, areas that are private property.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if, I guess military bases aren't private. They are technically owned by the government, so that makes them public property. But they're very, very not public.
Yeah, it's very controlled property.
Yeah.
And what I love about this is that there's a lot of things about the story that I absolutely adore. One is that at no point does Brett Ruskin, the guy who was waiting on all this documentation and did the research, at no point is the story report that anyone was arrested by an MP. They were all apprehended by, and they were like, it's like there's 2 men in a U-Haul driving around strangely on
Right.
base. Why? And then they go up to them and it's like, oh, we're playing Pokemon Go. And it's like, and I'm like, how did that end? And it's like, nobody got arrested. There was no record of any arrests. So they just were like, get off the thing. You're idiots, right? And I'm like, it just speaks to our military in like such a way that I'm kind of like, we're like, oh, you got to leave.
I guess that's more of like I guess that's, I wouldn't be surprised if they got fined.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
I
guess the problem with arresting them is then they're on the base more, which is not what you want.
To give you a sense of a little bit of an insight, I had a friend of mine who
You have to give up all the Pokemon that you caught on the base.
I have a friend of mine who was briefly
in the property of the Canadian government. Those Pokemon.
I had a friend who was a member of the Canadian Armed Forces for a very brief amount of time. He was in the radio corps, but he had to have guard duty, and he says the guard duty on base consisted of guarding a thing, and if you saw somebody and you challenged them and they didn't respond, you yelled bang really loud because they didn't give you a weapon. Your thing was to basically and I have no idea how entirely true that is, but it's like nobody was carrying live ammo on base, or at least he wasn't allowed to have live ammo on base.
So they have a weapon but no ammo?
I don't even know if he had a weapon. It was just like, it's like we basically just had to yell bang really loud. And I'm like, there's no way that's true, but it's a really good story. So
here's a whistle. If there's something bad happening, blow it and we'll come.
With our whistles as well. So, like, other things I love about the story is that this was all happening prior to the release of Pogo in Canada because everyone was sideloading it a week before because it came out in the United States.
Oh, right.
So it wasn't even on Canadian app stores.
So is this a thing where like the American military because it's like they had something worked out to make sure that they didn't interfere with like American military no-fly zones or whatever.
Maybe?
And then they didn't have it for the Canadian, like the Canadian military they didn't have the same kind of relationship with or hadn't thought about.
I imagine Niantic was probably like very much aware of there are certain spaces that we know already can't contain certain things. So we are going to like blacklist that from being able to put anything into space and not thinking about that anywhere else in the world maybe.
Yeah, like because this is obvious. Like I wonder if this is a problem everywhere.
Yeah, maybe in like France and like Turkey and like all these other places probably like, oh, you can just put stuff anywhere. But what gets me too is it's like, so all this stuff happened immediately after launch in the United States, and it was within 10 days, I think, which means that just after launch in Canada, they immediately dropped this warning that was like, it was a public warning to say, do not come onto Canadian Forces bases to to collect Pokemon. Pokemon Go cannot be played on base. And I'm like, so they were really on it as fast as they possibly could be. And the CBC saw that warning and was like, what's this all about? And put in a request for all the documentation they had on this thing. And
it's been like
3.5 years. The D&D was like, we will get on that, and they had to actually formed a special subcommittee of their access to information, because you can do that. You can put under like freedom of information essentially. They had to form special committees to catch up on their backlog, because there's been so many requests, and so this was one of these backlog requests. Normally, information comes out within 60 days. They couldn't get it all together in time, and so it went into a backlog. And so a backlog team got everything together 3.5 years later. This isn't like they've been covering it up. This is just like, we couldn't get around to getting all 400 documents from all the bases across Canada that this affected.
Wow.
It's just all these great little things that I loved about the story. It's a good story. Go to the CBC and look for the Pogo thing. It's really good.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's basically it for stories. Like I was saying to...
the EVE Online story is the one we didn't do.
Right, the EVE Online. Yeah. Right, of course.
But that's basically it. Let's talk about the EVE Online story.
So EVE, this is weirdly complicated. So, I mean, that's with anything with EVE Online, I guess.
Yeah.
So EVE Online has implemented this raffle system called the HyperNet Relay.
Yes.
And so, for one thing, like just at its very base level,
if you own a thing,
at its very base level, with like this is sort of this like in-game gambling stuff, which CCP has been very anti-gambling in terms of things that players set up.
Yeah, there was even like a third-party site where they're like, oh, we know who's running that, we're banning their accounts.
Yeah, they've been cracking down really hard on player-run gambling stuff.
Yeah.
And so people were under the impression that was like, they just didn't want gambling in the game.
Yeah.
Turns out they just didn't want gambling in the game that they weren't getting a cut of.
Yeah.
And so they've come up with this great, like... this version of this raffle where it's basically you can, instead of just selling your thing for 1 trillion ISK in-game, it's the in-game currency, you can put it up for this raffle where you say like, I'm going to sell, and you can set all this stuff. Yeah. So you can say, I want to, there's
a maximum of 512 tickets that you can put out in the world, essentially.
Yeah, and then so you can say how much you want to sell each ticket for.
Yeah.
And then if all the tickets sell, all the tickets have to sell.
Yes,
right?
they do.
All the tickets have to sell, and if all the tickets sell, then they do a draw.
And one person wins the thing.
One person wins. You can buy more than one ticket, of course.
And you get all the ISK. Like CCP isn't taking a cut of the ISK. Mm-hmm. So also though, the auction only lasts for 3 days. So if you put up something at an incredibly expensive price and nobody buys it, then, or only like 3 people bid it, but you have like 100 tickets out, after 3 days, the seller gets their item back, the buyers get their ISK back. And so you're like, okay, this seems like a good system, but wouldn't people just abuse that?
Turns out there's an additional wrinkle, which is if you want to put your thing up for this raffle thing, you need to also give a certain number of hypercores. And the number of hypercores it's required is based on how much you want to charge per ticket. So basically what you want the final total to be.
So now how do you get hypercores? Because these seem like interesting things.
You buy them.
With what? With ISK?
No. With real money.
Yes, which you have to convert real money into Plex is what they're
you
like
buy them
premium
with,
currency.
You buy them with Plex, which when you buy Plex with real money, although you can also buy Plex with ISK.
Yep. But you have to bid on Plex from other people.
Yeah. So, and if your
raffle
fails, the hypercores are spent. So what this ends up being is that you have this. It's an interesting kind of almost like a game theory, set up, right? So you have the person who's raffling their thing. Has to
list it competitively.
So they're kind of gambling on their side how much they want to charge per raffle ticket to make up so that either all the raffle tickets put together is going to be the same price as they would have sold it for, or ideally more than they would have sold it for.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, of course, the people who are entering the raffle have to figure out how many tickets they want to buy and all that kind of stuff. So there's sort of an interesting aspect where there's like there's risk on both sides of the transaction.
And you have 72 hours to make this work out. You can't just leave it up for 30 days or something.
And of course, while ISK is an in-game currency, you can buy Plex, which are basically pilot extensions. Those are basically subscriptions to the game of EVE Online.
Yeah.
You can buy Plex with real money, and then you can use Plex to buy either the cores or ISK.
Yeah.
And so there is a real money thing.
Yeah, there's a real
here.
money exchange actually does come into play. You can set a dollar value on a virtual item in game.
And so basically the end result, of course, is that CCP is basically taking both sides of this deal.
Yep.
Which is good for them. But yeah, I feel like it's one of those things that, like, if we add enough additional complications to it, people won't quite be sure what the odds are.
I see two things happening as a result.
Although I think that's possibly underestimating the amount of spreadsheets that EVE players have.
So I see two things happening as a result of this. One is currently an item in game is kind of known within the economy to be worth a certain amount. If you have a rare weapon or a rare ship or something you're going to pay for, there's kind of a stable set at which everyone knows what this is worth. But because you can raffle it now, and you can say, rather than taking that amount and dividing by 512 and saying that's how much every ticket's worth, it's like, I actually want to clear more money. I want to charge more for this thing. Mm-hmm. But even dividing more into 512 means that everybody is still paying way less. They're paying 1/5/12 of whatever the value of the ship is plus the profit is. And if that pays out multiple times, then the value of the ship has now changed. Right? It's no longer a million ISK or a billion ISK. It's now $1,300,000,000 or $1,500,000,000 because everyone's proven that you can sell it for that much, so it's actually now worth that. So the economy is going to change. The second thing that I see going to happen, people are going to open this up to be like, okay, 512 things. You probably can't buy raffle tickets for your own stuff. But what you probably can do is transfer ISK to people you trust in game, because if you sell 300 tickets and it's like, shit, I'm not going to be able to clear this.
Right.
But I can profit on this if I can still manage to sell it. You go to your friends and say, I'll give you the remainder of the ISKs that you can buy the remainder of the tickets, and then sell the thing. If your friend wins, that's even a bonus, because maybe they'll be like, cool, I'm going to turn around and do the same thing and give you ISK back so you can buy the remainder of the tickets, so we can actually see. And so it'd be a lot of behind-the-scenes gaming to sell this stuff in this way.
I mean, it's the old thing with, like, there's the sort of rumors or underhanded stuff with, like, people, bumping their own Kickstarter to hit the funding goal,
or having their friends like bump their auctions on eBay and then like refusing to pay or something like that. So, but you still lose all the cores, yes.
Yeah. So, and what's interesting, of course, is that quite famously, EVE has at least one, if not multiple, real, highly trained economists on their staff.
Yeah.
Because their economy, the economy that exists within the EVE world, not only is so complicated, but also is actually very interesting to study because it mirrors things in the real world. Obviously, not exactly, but it mirrors things in the real world and allows, basically things that people can experiment and they can see how things affect things. And it has some analog in the real world.
Yeah.
And so people are quite fascinated about it from an economics point of view. So I would assume that there is some very tricky planning that has gone into this.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, yes, I said friend, but also I could mean your alt accounts. You could literally do that. That's another way to do it as well.
Considering like espionage and false flag operations and alt accounts and stuff is very much a part of the EVE culture.
Yeah.
It's not surprising, or it wouldn't be surprising if there's all sorts of tricky stuff going on.
Yeah. We will see stories regarding this, I'm sure, at some point, and we will be unable to talk about them because they'll be very complicated.
Eve continues to be the game that I'm most interested in learning about and not playing.
That's good.
I was like, wow, this looks like a really neat game that I never, ever want to play.
Yeah. All right. That was everything I think we wrote down and found out about.
Yeah. So I guess so. Yeah. We're almost at the time when we'd be going offline anyway. So yeah, let's talk about stuff that's coming up because we've got obviously LRMTG coming up after this. And then tonight, actually, we've got a special bonus stream. James is going to be playing Minecraft. I know, surprise, surprise. But he's going to be playing and showing the
Betrayal
Minecraft,
Legacy.
Yeah, the all the houses.
Yeah.
One of our or I think a number of our chat people, Original Garwolf, I think was
Sound
the
off if you're in the chat
one behind it, has made all of the houses from Betrayal Legacy in Minecraft and
in one map, I think it is. Is it?
3 to 13. Oh, I see.
Nice.
Yeah. I guess because the first one's some of which I believe are holes in the ground because the house blew up.
So if you're wondering what happened there, go watch the stream.
Into a black hole.
Yeah.
And some of the houses were very, very small because we activated the
haunt too early.
Haunt very early. Some of them are quite large, and some of them have completely nonsensical things of the stables on the second floor and weird stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
So it'll be interesting to see how that actually works out. So James is going to be doing a tour of those tonight. And then tomorrow we have the finale of the Canadian Highlander Spring League. Fall League. That would make sense.
Yes.
That would be a league. That would be the league that would be.
Yeah.
So we have the finale of that, which should be a lot of fun. Lots of spicy, powerful magic going on.
Lots of finale stuff coming up over the week, isn't there?
Yeah, I guess probably should have had those finales like a week ago, but you know what? That's fine.
It worked out.
And then we also have actually, I wanted to mention on Saturday, there's Adam's Game House is normal, but if you look at the schedule, you see it's on later than normal.
Right.
Because we have a meeting on Saturday with with most of the crew here, and so Adam's Game House is going to be a little later, and then of course there's Shenmue after that.
Yep.
And then more Shenmue.
Yeah.
On Sunday, and Rhythm Cafe on Sunday, and then on Monday, it is the finale of Road Quest. That's right. The epic finale. What will happen? Will they survive? Who knows? Does Beej get back home?
At all. Like, really?
Yeah.
Did I even make it? And that's at 4 p.m.
That'll be streaming on YouTube at 4 p.m.
Yeah, Pacific, yeah.
Which, and of course, as always, it will be available just on YouTube after that. And then at 5 o'clock on our Twitch channel, we will be having a Q&A for all everybody who is going to be there. I think I know certainly Graham will be there, and as many as of the participants and crew and editors and so forth as are available to be there. And there's a link that is just in the chat there that has a form that you can fill out to submit questions so we can get an idea. When does the question list close for the Q&A? I don't know. Probably soon.
I would definitely get that in before, because the
sooner you ask your question, the better.
Yeah.
Because if you ask it too late, we won't have seen it.
I also don't think that we are not promising to answer every question on that list.
No.
So if you have something you want to know about and we don't answer it, I guess you'll have to catch one of us at a convention. For example, we will be at PAX South this year, January 17th through the 19th. That's in San Antonio, Texas. It's Going to be myself and Heather and Ben and Serge. Ben Elmer and Serge. And yeah, we'll be down there. We'll be selling stuff. We'll have a booth in Bandland. If you are... this is not a thing I recommend you do, but if you can't get a ticket for some reason to PAX South, technically my understanding is you can still come inside. No one will stop you. You can't go do anything, but you can walk up to Bandland and you can say hi to us, and that's a possibility of something to do. I recommend that if you can, at least try to get a ticket for the day. But if you really can't, I think you can still manage to get to Bandland. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know what the security is going to be like this year. It could be completely different. They might actually be checking all the badges at the door. So,
but it's a great show anyway, though.
So much
you should
fun.
Definitely go to
it.
And PAX East is also happening in February.
God, yes, February 27th. 6 weeks after PAX South is PAX East, and I'm trying to remember who I'm sending to that. That is Graham and Ben and Cameron and Corey. Ben and Cameron and Corey have not been before, and I will not be at that one. So they will be everybody there. I mean, they know how to run a booth. Graham knows how to run a booth. He's very, very, Yeah, yes, Corvus, just like if you're a small child who's a fan of an Australian Fortnite player. That's right. That happened at PAX Australia when we were there, is that a dude who played Fortnite let everybody know that it's like, hey, they're actually not, you don't have to have a badge to come in and say hi to me if you don't want to. And 400 goddamn kids showed up. And like probably more than that, but they made a huge snake line in the middle of where Bandland was. But because it was such a mess and it was such like a scrum that they had to bring in every enforcer they possibly could spare, even some they couldn't. They had to bring in to make a giant line to organize all these kids for like 8 goddamn hours or something. It was an absolute clusterfuck.
Okay, maybe don't do that.
It was bad manners. And I'm like, that's not okay. That's why I'm like, if you're going to come see us, at least buy a ticket. But if you can't buy a ticket and you really need to see us for some reason, I guess you could risk it, but I'm not telling you should. Please try not to risk it.
Also, we want to thank the people who subscribed during the stream, starting with this person, who is Klee Crew. Yeah, for 28 months. Thank you very much.
I like this new typeface.
Yeah, I saw people in the chat were like, what's the story behind the new typeface? The story is, I thought it looked better.
Yeah.
It looked different. This is actually the slab serif version of the previous. It was Roboto before, and now it's Roboto slab.
Yeah.
I wanted a typeface that the uppercase I and the lowercase L look different.
We'll have to and then in next year from now, we'll use in Consolata or something, so it's all fixed width. Eddie at the Gov has been here for 18 months. Welcome back, Eddie.
Karad Banar for 11 months. Thank you very much.
Ninjitsu Monkey shows up for 46 months. Thank you, Monkey.
Mordor is bad. That controversial opinion.
Yeah. What a hill to die on.
The hot takes. Mordor is bad. 5 months. Thank you very much.
Sam Skunkworks has been here for 68 months. That's so many months, and I've never seen your name before. Well, cool. I like seeing all these people I don't know.
Emergent OS for 29 months. Thank you very much.
Inkslayer has been here 45 months. Welcome back, Inkslayer.
Quest here for 25 months.
The Bob 58 has been here 31 months. Welcome back.
Cause Guy for 15 months.
Did Graham even know about the typeface change, or did you just do it?
I just did it.
See, there you go. Do you know why Paul can just do that? Because he's a co-owner of the company, and he can do what he wants as well.
That's right.
He's no Superman 10, though.
10 Supermen all put together.
Yeah. For 42 months. Welcome back.
Few people are Superman 10, though, really. Secator for 59 months.
Almost at that 5-year mark.
Ooh.
Neko Daimyo has been here for 23 months, almost at that 2-year mark.
No news.
Good news.
But I was gifted by the Meerkat. Thank you very much.
The Walking has been here for 27 months. Welcome back.
CheckPoint 2K 2001 and Ingress tutorial account. Been gifted by the Maricat. That was teaching people how to play Ingress, I guess?
I guess. That's wild. Null Cola Ship has been here 46 months. Welcome back.
Pulse Gun for 27 months. Thank you very much.
Admiral Matt for 53 months. Welcome back.
For 29 months. That's Frankenstein's monster, but they sewed his mouth mostly shut.
Yeah.
So it's like what's the doctor's name again?
Luhegi has been here for 23 months. All these people close to 2 years.
Tabeard for 6 months.
Chaliki has been here 15 months. Welcome back.
Forest Gaze for 40 months.
KSU Rugger 1. Kusuruger, I thought we were going to have there for a second. For 3 whole years. Congrats on your anniversary.
Gacha Eve Gaming. Gotcha, Eve Gaming.
Wow.
Gifted by the Maricat.
Octopus Rhyme has been here 18 months. Welcome back.
Ogion the Silent. Or Ogion? The Silent for 11 months.
One of the Voice has been here for 20 months. Excuse me.
Those are lowercase i's and up.
Yeah, wouldn't have had the same effect,
L's.
right?
That would have worked with the other font.
Yeah,
that would have worked fine in the previous font, by the way.
Welcome to the chat. C Dudus 21 has been here for 3 months. Welcome back.
Toph the Hermit for 41 months. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the audio of this. She's probably big on podcasts.
Is gifted by the Maricat as well. They might be the same person.
My grandma's Amazon Prime for 22 months. Long may your grandma have Amazon Prime.
May she live forever. Avidus Mouch has been here 27 months. Welcome back.
Guyan Luck for 20 months. Thank you very much.
Tavildo has been here for 6 months. Welcome back.
And Shadmed for 31 months.
And 151 bits came to us from H-Bomb and Friends and Ear the Nun. Ear then one.
Ear then one.
Ear then one. Thank you, Earth and One. Thank you all you guys for showing up. We really appreciate it. Everything you do here on Twitch and on Patreon and on all the other ways you're doing for us is really, really great.
And I guess I could probably I can tell you now that warning you that next week's checkpoint will indeed be a chill point because it's going to be the PPR.
Oh, right.
Things are going to be in full preparation for the PPR, so we're probably not going to have time to do a regular checkpoint, but myself and possibly other people who I can convince to join me will be doing a chill point because hopefully things will have happened by then.
Yeah.
There's a week for things to happen, and
yeah.
I'm sure things will happen by then.
All right, we are going offline, and Lure MTG will be starting damn near immediately, so stick around.
Yeah, because we had lots of time, and then we took lots of time.
We sure did.
All right. See you later.
Hello.
Ah.